or roll down things, how those things are interpreted by the local government is really what makes the difference. And we don't have enough people prepared to step into place so that we can keep things going. And so that's one of the main reasons I'm trying to run. One of the other things is I don't think that I haven't seen in the people that I've talked to that people really understand the fact that if we don't utilize our vote, we have the potential to lose our vote. I don't think people understand the importance of that and the fact that, for instance, I'm just outside the baby boomers. You know, the baby boomers were 1965, but I was born in 66. Now, you look at all of the baby boomers that are out here today that are left, the millennials now equal them. So I don't think people realize the importance of the millennials and the fact that the millennials could have a real effect on government if they decided to get actively involved in it and participate in it to the fullest of its to the extent. If you look at how Obama got elected, he used millennials. He used the young. If you look at what's going on with us today, and if you look at kind of what's happening with our current government, they're talking about voter suppression and taking more voting rights away. And if we don't get our young people involved, people like me who are older, we're going to age out of a lot of this stuff. You know, as I told you earlier, I'm 52. I'll be 52 this year, I should say. And so, you know, I'm at that stage where the effects that have happened, the decisions that were made 8 years ago, the things that I'm faced with now. But the things that I can have an impact on are the things that are going to come in the next 10 to 20 years. And so that's one of the things that I want to make sure that the voice of the next generation is being heard and that we're addressing those concerns now, because if we don't, we have that potential of just losing everything. And we stand on the backs of those who came before us so that we can actually get an opportunity to vote, but we don't have enough active people making sure that we're utilizing that vote, especially on off presidential years. As you and I both know, everyone gets out and votes when it's a presidential year, but on an off presidential year, we don't have as many people that actually participate in voting.
So you mentioned Barack Obama, and you mentioned how he won with millennials, and I am a millennial, and we tend, you know, in my group, we tend to talk about politics a whole lot. Some of us are active, some of us are not. My question to you would be, why would a millennial vote for Tony Burton? Like, what effect or what things do you believe would inspire us to believe in what you're doing?
One of the reasons why I'm seeking and wanting millennial support is the fact that I want to be able to sit down with them and represent them at the table. One of the things that I found is that we lose representation when it comes to the table. We don't have anyone speaking up for us. And I've watched it just with my generation and the things that have happened in the last few years. And millennials have great influence and don't always use that influence. But if they can get to the table with someone who they trust, someone who can bring their points forward and can carry and articulate the particular things that they're interested in so that those things can become forces at a later point in time, that's kind of one of the things that I'm asking for. I'm asking them to tell me what it is that your concerns are. Show me, let me know what that is, so while I'm at the table, I can address those concerns. Because the things that are happening today aren't going to affect today. You know, as I was saying to you earlier, one of the biggest things that happen is we make decisions now, but those decisions are things that are going to happen, you know, anywhere from 8 to 10 years from now. So the decision that happens today, we'll see some immediate effects, but the reality of it is the generation that comes behind us, which are those millennials, that they're going to have to be faced with the issue that's caused by the actions that we have today. And so I want to be able to take those things in consideration. I want to have that voice. I want to have people sitting with me saying, these are the things we're looking at. Can you bring those things to the table? And I think that has been limited in all of our government. And that's one of the things that I want to address, and one of the reasons why I'm hoping that millennials will support me in that effort. I can get to the table. I do have the negotiation abilities. I have the understanding of the basics. And so if I can bring those concerns to the table and then bring them back to the people, the other side to this is I think that government has to be two-way, and government has so long been one way. We tell you what it is that's going to happen, and you have to kind of live with it. But if I'm working with you in a partnership, for lack of a better term, and that all government is about partnerships, whether we believe it or not. I need to find out what it is that my constituents want. Then I need to go and try to enforce that, get that, and then I need to report back to my constituents why we didn't get this or how it happened. So we have to have two-way communication. And that's what I don't see in our current government. I don't see enough of that two-way conversation. Why did you make the decision that you made? This is why I made that decision. This is what it is that we're trying to do. Tell me what it is that you would want me to do so that we can bring those things back and forth.
Okay. So can you give me an example of a millennial problem that you believe you can address or you've run across in your time that you believe that you could help tremendously with your campaign and as you become elected?
The biggest thing is the lack of representation for millennials in government, and being able to address that. And what I'm found is that those concerns that they have are not being addressed. So finding out exactly what those concerns are. I won't sit here today and tell you that I know every concern that the millennials have. I don't. One of the things is that they don't have, we're looking at what are we going to do for the workforce? How are we going to make sure that we're prepared? How are we going to handle student loans? I mean, there's a whole lot of broad categories that I'd like to address. But for me, I would rather sit down with a group of millennials and say, look, tell me exactly what it is right here in Winston-Salem that your concern is. We know that college education, paying for college education, equal rights, equal opportunities for employment, all of those are things, are issues that we know that are out there. But is that the issue right now that's pressing for the millennials? I know job readiness, job training. Again, I think probably the biggest concern that I've heard when I go out and talk to folks is how are we going to pay back all these college loans? What's going to be out here for us to do? What jobs are going to be here in Winston-Salem so that we can get employment when we get this degree? What are we doing so that we're prepared for the next level so that we can move forward? So those are the quick things that I'll start to look at, especially with jobs.
So it's great that you mentioned, it's a great segue to jobs in the City of Innovation, City of Arts and Innovation in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Could you talk a little bit about what you're excited about when it comes to this city and employing people that are getting out of college? And I say that because when I got out of college in 2010, the city was not where it is right now, and there were a lot of things that I had to do to become employed in the city. So are you heading any initiatives that you're happy with that Winston-Salem is directly impacting specifically college students in Wake Forest University, Winston-Salem State University, UNCSA to employ the students that are getting out in the upcoming years?
I'm a part of the Innovation Quarter. One of the organizations that I work for is located in the Innovation Quarter. It's called Northwest Child Development Centers, MUDPIES, and we're Early Childhood Learning Center. And what I've watched is when we actually built on that corner, the Innovation Quarter was still a dream. And all of the things that was coming to that area was still a dream, and we watched that over the last 6-7 years explode. I think there's great opportunities with the partnerships that are being created between the universities, the 4 universities, as you stated, Winston-Salem State, Wake Forest, the School of the Arts, and Salem College, all of them coming together and trying to figure out what we can do. The Innovation Quarter, based off of what the model says, they're going to bring more technology jobs, more biotech jobs. There are things that are moving into the area. We need trained and available employees to take advantage of those jobs that come. On the other side of that, one of the things that I've seen is in being involved in small business and things of that nature, looking at the economic development and jobs coming to the area, one of the things that employers talk about is, are we going to have employees? Are we going to be able to find people qualified to do the things that are there? And that's why I think it's great that all of those universities are kind of coming together and saying, these are the jobs that are out here that are potentially coming. What are we doing to prepare our students so that we can get to that? One of the things that I want people to really see also is the fact that once you get this training in these or retraining, because some of this is going to be retraining. You might get a degree, as you and I both know, your degree might be in business, and then when you go out into the market, you'll do something in the segment of business, but it may not be in business management. It may depend on what the jobs are, so you might have to get some retooling, as we like to say, so that you can fit the jobs that are there. But that's what the innovation quarter is looking for. They're looking for young, energetic people that can bring and learn and take on the jobs that are being created through the businesses that are coming there, the incubator businesses that are coming there, looking at all of the biotech opportunities that are coming to the area. And so what we're trying to do is make sure not only with the generation of the millennials, but the generations that come behind that get the proper training and education so that they can be ready to go into the workforce too. Because I don't know if you know or not, but statistics said by the time a child is in third grade, we know whether or not that child is going to be successful. So if we know by third grade whether or not a child is going to be successful, we know that we build jails, we do all of these things based off of the performance of a child in third grade, then we need to make sure that we're better preparing kids, because I don't want more prisons. I want more success. And so with that means that we have to make sure that we educate and that we're bringing back and that we're giving back so that we can make sure that the future is there, that the future lies.
Okay. So how has your experience, your former experience, prepared you to be or serve as county commissioner? And before you answer that question, can you explain to us the job of the county commissioner, and then answer the question as to why you're qualified to serve in that role?
Well, the county commissioner job, for lack of a better term, involves in looking at and administering all your local laws passed down through the state, all your local ordinances, making sure that all of the services that are necessary to make the government run at a local level are done and approved. One of the major parts of that, of course, is approving the budget, looking at property taxes, looking at zoning, looking at things of all of those natures, and then making sure that the county is assigning people to boards that represent the things that the county are involved in, juvenile justice, crime prevention, things of that nature. So board of assignments are there. Looking at the school budget, which is one of the biggest parts, one of the biggest budget parts of the county commissioners. How am I prepared to do that? If I'll have to take you on a long story, I guess is the best way to say it. I'll try to summarize it up. But the jobs that I've had in the past, starting from when I came out of college in 1989, from the University of Tennessee at Martin, moving here, working for one of the local law firms, and I'll leave some of the companies unnamed just because of what they are. And then I went on to work for one of the local banks, and working in student loans and loan origination. I worked in trust operations for a while, and then I got involved with partnershiping with one of the local schools and doing a mentoring and a banking program to teach students how to do banking. From that experience of banking, I actually ended up being challenged by one of my students who said, "We're learning math from you, so why don't you come and teach us?" Well, my background wasn't in teaching. As I told you, I graduated from Tennessee with a degree in business administration with a concentration in administrative data systems, which we now call MIS. And so I'm going, no, that's really not where I'm at. But I decided, because I was having success with them and the students felt that I was having some success, that I'd go back here to Winston-Salem State and get my teaching certification. And I did that in mathematics and science, and actually started teaching in the local school system in 94, 95. So I have teaching experience also. I ran alternative education programs for our local school system. I did administrative services for our local school system. I branched out from that and created an alternative program that partnered with several local school systems through several different counties, including Forsyth. I did programs up in Statesville and Burlington and down in Salisbury. My program was recognized at the time, called Visions Work Youth Service, was recognized by the governor as an exemplary program for children that would be long-term and short-term suspended from local school systems. So those experiences, along with I did church administration for 3 years, and then I went on to work in early childhood education, running Northwest Child Development Centers, and we've had as many as 10 child care facilities. And then I owned a limousine company. I currently own a consulting company called TLB and Associates. And so having businesses of my own, negotiating contracts, being able to work with the government, working with the state level, working